Hey y'all! Pricing, in my opinion, is always the hardest part of setting up my workshop and my events. There's not a manual that can just break it all down really easily. I wish that I could just tell you a number and it would work for everyone. But there's not a simple answer. So today I really want to dive into this super important topic and show you the way that I like to break down my pricing and set up my workshops. Setting your price is a balancing act between three factors: your selling price, your costs, and the minimum number of students. Okay, y'all, we're going to get a little bit mathy in here. Oh, yeah. And I know that math may be an uncomfortable topic for yoga teachers, but I promise you must know your numbers in order to be successful. We're going to use a specific equation to help you determine your price and minimum number of students needed to break even. Okay, you're probably seeing these two equations on your screen right now and you're freaking out, but don't worry. I promise we're going to walk through this step by step. I also have this equation as a downloadable template. So if you would like this template, feel free to visit the website, add your email, and I'll send you over that template right away. And you can watch the rest of this video and follow along with the template. If you don't want that template, that's cool. Let's pull out a piece of paper and let's get started. Okay, first, we need to determine your fixed costs. Your fixed costs are the costs that are constant, no matter how many participants sign up for your workshop. These are costs like your marketing costs, how much money you want to make. Not an hourly amount, but for this whole workshop, how much money do you want to make? These are costs like what you're going to pay your teachers. Again, not as an hourly, but as a flat rate. This would also be a flat rate for a yoga studio rental. So these costs are constant, no matter how many people show up. If you spend $50 on marketing your workshop, it doesn't matter how many people show up, you've spent $50. Hopefully you've set a price that you want to make this amount of money for the workshop. So determine these fixed costs. Write them down. Next, let's determine your variable costs. Your variable costs are costs per person. Okay? So costs per person can be things like material fees. Cost per person can be things like a split with the studio. If you have like a 70-30 split, they can be PayPal processing fees. So for materials, if you have 10 people sign up, you're going to buy 10 chakra stones. And if you have 75 people sign up, you're going to buy 75 chakra stones. So what is the cost per stone? These are your variable costs. What is the cost per book? What is the cost per student to sign up for your workshop? These are your variable costs. And let's say that you're doing a 70-30 split with the studio. What is 30% of your selling price, which we're going to talk about next? Okay, so now you've determined your fixed cost and your variable cost. Let's determine your cost margin. Take your actual selling price, which is what you want to charge, and subtract your variable costs. This equals your cost margin. You may be thinking, but I don't know my actual selling price, Allison. That's why I'm listening. Estimate. Just pick a number. I don't care. Make it $500, make it $5. Just pick a number. You can always go back and change it. This is just to show you how you can start to play around with these numbers, okay? So pick a number, whatever floats your boat. Now, let's determine your minimum number of participants. Take your fixed costs and divide your cost margin. This gives you the minimum number of participants to break even. This is probably going to be some kind of decimal number, like 8.2, 12.7. I mean, people don't come in decimals, so you always round up. You would need 9 people to break even or 13 people to break even. Okay, now let's examine your numbers. Do you like these numbers? Are they realistic? If you need 75 people to break even for your workshop, is that realistic? Does the workshop location even hold 75 people? Do you only need 1 person to run your yoga workshop? That also is not realistic because hopefully more than 1 person signs up. So, let's look at these 2 situations and determine what is realistic for you and how we can come to a better actual selling price for you. So, let's say that you need 75 people to break even. You need way too many participants and it's just not realistic for you. Okay, then you need to do one of 2 things. First, you need to increase your workshop price or your actual selling price. Yeah, if you need 75 people to break even, but the room only holds 10, then you're not charging nearly enough for your workshop. You need to increase the price of your workshop. So increase your actual selling price. Notice how that changes some of your numbers. Or you need to decrease your costs. You may need to make less money or you need to provide less for the participants. Maybe you're looking at the price and you said that you want to do a 2-hour workshop and you want to make $700. Well, you're probably overestimating how much money you're going to make. So you may want to decrease your costs and notice how that changes the numbers. Okay, now what I often see yoga teachers do is they set their price and they only need 1 person to break even. Yay! You may think that's a great place. No, it's not. You want more than 1 person to show up. How many people do you realistically want? If only 1 person is showing up, it's not a workshop. It's a private session. So do you want 5 people, 8, 12, 15, 25? Think about how many you actually want. And now there's going to be one of two things that you're going to need to do. You need to either decrease your workshop price. Maybe you set your workshop price at a 2-hour workshop for $500. Not realistic. So decrease your workshop price. Or increase your costs. And this is probably how much money you want to make. I know you, fellow yoga teacher, you're like me. You want everyone to attend, so it doesn't matter if you're only making $15 an hour, right? No, you deserve to make more than $15 an hour. How much money do you really want to make from this workshop? Do you want to make $40 an hour, $60, $80, $100 an hour? Increase your costs and notice how this changes your numbers as well. All right, now the last and final piece for all of this is that I want to make sure that you're also looking at the market. What are other people charging for their workshops? You don't want to be cheaper than everyone else, but you also don't want to be way more expensive than everyone else. And I'm going to talk about this more in another article because we don't want to cheapen the market. So do not be cheaper than everyone else. Charge a fair price, something that gets you paid and something that's realistic for your students. Setting up your pricing, it's a balancing act between your actual selling price, your costs, and the minimum number of students. You want to make sure that all of these are realistic numbers for you, that you're making what you deserve to make, that your selling price is realistic for the market, and that you have a realistic minimum number of students. So play around with your actual selling price and see what numbers make you feel most comfortable. In a future article, I'm going to discuss more about when you should cancel your workshop if you haven't met the minimum requirements. So stay tuned. So I'm curious, what price did you land on for your workshop? Tell us all about it in the Yoga Teacher Talk Facebook group. I would love to hear how this pricing exercise went for you and if you had any questions, struggles, and what number you landed on. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to connect with you in the Yoga Teacher Talk Facebook group.